Good morning, traders. So how do we trade the Aussie today? So the Aussie has blown through pretty much every level on the daily, heading to the downside. But I do suspect that we are going to be getting some buyer step in shortly. So the first thing is, I'm just going to round that off. That is the first level there. The second level that we did tag was this inside tail here. Okay. Now we do have little inside tail here, which is still a open Brooks gap on the monthly. Okay, so that is a potential target to the downside still. Anyway, what we do have as well on the monthly is we've got this trend line here, which is coinciding with the 20 moving average at the moment. So these levels are pretty strong across the higher time frames, and so I suspect that what we have here, for all intents and purposes, is a range. The warning bell in my head at the moment is that that is the top of range there, but we turned slightly below it. Nothing really to read into that because it can fool you, but anyway, there should be some buyer stepping in somewhere along here. Anyway, let's just get down to the lower time frames. I don't think there's much on the 4 hour that we can look at, not really, apart from the fact that the oscillators are starting to group. Other than that, the levels are the same. We do have some micro levels in between here, but there's nothing really that stands out. So let's just look at the 1 hour. So firstly, let's just have a look at yesterday. Yesterday's, I got this very wrong, and I'll explain to you now why. And it's a common mistake in my armory anyway. So this wedge with diversions at a 61.8 and a daily gap, to me, and at 50,000, which is a round number, in my eyes, that is where buyers were going to step in and we were going to rally. Maybe just to the 20 here or the 40 moving average, but we were going to rally. Anyway, got that completely wrong, and should have been trading the level breakouts rather. So one of the problems I've got with these wedges, and this is a classic example of a higher time frame wedge on the Aussie at a level, everything is just lining up to tell you that it's going to the upside. And when it does this and it looks so good, it's often too good to be true, especially on the Aussie. Okay. What happens is it gets used as a trap against you. So that being said, what should we have traded? Let's just get down to the half hour so we can just concentrate on what we should have traded. And I'm going to just delete that as well because that's null and void now. So basically what happened yesterday is Friday we had a consolidation pattern here. Okay, there was this consolidation pattern. Now we broke below the consolidation pattern, and remember the rules of a trend are: we trend, we then consolidate, and we either break to the upside or we break the downside. So what had happened here? We broke to the downside. So what should have happened is we should have been looking for a retest. This bar was a retest, and then taken that short. Now if I take that down to a 6-minute scenario, and are we on the right day there? Okay, so there is your bottom, and you can see we came back, retested with a pin bar, indecision bar, pin bar. That was your entry short. Okay, so classic example of trade the levels rather than the patterns. Your patterns are there, and by all means trade them, but trade them once the pattern is broken. Okay, so that's kind of my lesson that I learn often, especially on the Aussie. On things like the Dow or the S&P or the DAX, more often than not, when you see patterns like that with diversions at levels, etc., they tend to do play out, even if it's only to 50% of the target. But with the Aussie, this is a different animal. Okay, so what are we supposed to be doing today? So I do suspect we are going to get some buyer step into the downside, but and this is a big but, there is basically 700 odd points. That is the furthest target, but I think there's let's call it 800 point zone here where you can expect buyers to step in. Okay, now what I'm going to say today is we're going to have to watch these levels, but these levels are pretty big, and I think what we want to do is just get down to, I'm going to do something a little bit different here. So we're going to look back at the 3 hour, because I often find the 3 hour gives us some indication of what's about to happen. So those are the closest levels. So it's this inside tail, this inside tail. Okay, and then what you can do is you can add another one here, which is this inside tail. So this is kind of the zone that we have. And then what you want to do is take that inside tail there. Okay, so this is the zone that we're looking at. And if you look at all the oscillators on the higher time frame, they're all starting to group. 6 hours still apart, but that's also fine. The daily hasn't really grouped yet, so the daily is still pointing to the downside. But everything else is looking a little bit oversold. Okay, so I think the thing to play today is going to be the closing range breakout. So yesterday the closing range breakout played out perfectly, and again it was a retest of the range, which was the bottom of the breakout, and off we went. So today I suspect we kind of do more of the same. Although it is a small range, it's about 200 points. The concern I have here is that none of the levels line up with my breakout target. So I'm a bit wary of that, but it may still be another trap. So we need to just trade what we see. So that's the first thing that I would do, is basically a break below the low of yesterday. We should get some more downside. We should get through this zone and then target this area here. So we are currently at 41, what are we at now? 41, 49, sorry, 49,400 at the moment. And we've got 41,200. We've got, why am I saying 41? So it's 49,300. It's 49,200, 280, yeah, 49,200. So we've got those areas, and I suspect we're going to get as far as this, which is 48,845. And this is kind of somewhere in this area, I do suspect we start consolidating. So what we need to do is trade with the trend for now, and I suspect we are going to be down a little bit more, and then we should start consolidating. So that would be a range trade, so it'll be long from the bottom, short from the top. But we need to wait for the first wave of that range to be formed. And at that point, we will need to wait for a break below the range to indicate continuation, or break to the upside to indicate a reversal. But for now, trend is down. Stay with the trend. Don't get fixated on patterns like me, and you should be safe. So you can see on the half hour as well, this is a great time frame for trends on the Aussie. You can see how we're staying below the 20 all the time. So this trend is pretty strong. So I think for me, I can't really say that I'll be looking for longs or shorts at the moment. I do suspect we are going to get profit taking somewhere down here, and we just need to wait for the correct signal to indicate that. So for now, it's with the trend. If we do get a gap down, wait for the pullback short again, and we'll see where that goes to. So just bear in mind that it could be right where we are now. Okay, there's a lot of levels here, or it could be further down. And if I just take that out to the weekly, you see what I mean. This zone here is pretty intense. Okay, and there isn't a weekly inside tail right over here, which we could still tag. Okay, so yeah, again, you look at this pattern here, which was a bullish pattern, and you've got this bullish bar here, and immediately it just reverses off. So the chances are that we more of the same, bounce off here, back up, and more than likely you're going to be looking at that as your level. Okay, if we do break below these areas here, it's going to be quite violent because there's nothing much to stop it. There's one or two areas, but it'll be quite a violent move back down to the 45,000 area, 43,000 area even. Okay, so that's kind of my take for today. Is stick to the trend, and probably when I do want to stick to the trend, it's probably going to reverse, but just watch it very carefully. So this is a strong area that you can expect buyers to step in. If we do break above 49,590, so if we do break above 49,590, that is the closing range. Okay, and then you can expect us to get some upside. Your upside is going to be stopped pretty much by the 20 moving average, which will be somewhere around 49,800 area, maybe a bit lower. Yeah, 49,800, 49,700, somewhere around there, before I suspect we pull back together. We do get a double bottom around here, then it would be a nice, interesting scenario to see what happens. Okay, so yeah, so for me, if you are short, stay short. There's no reason to get out. And I'll just wait to see what happens at these levels here. If we do start consolidating, then we may have to just trade the range and then wait to see what happens after the consolidation. Okay, so yeah, kind of wishy-washy, I suppose, this morning, but there's some massive levels here. So I'm actually reluctant to even be short or long right now. I'd rather wait to see what's going on. So that's kind of, I think, what my strategy will be on the Aussie today. Just wait for the open, have a look at around 9:15 to see what's going on, and then make this decision then. Anyway, guys, I hope it helps, and stay safe, keep our stops tight, and I'll catch you later. Cheers, man.